You might have already backed Hymn of the Dragonflower and are thinking to yourself, what the hell have I actually backed? Or you might have not yet backed Hymn of the Dragonflower and are thinking to yourself, what the hell have I not yet backed? Well, in both scenarios, I'm here to give you a little bit more information about the Hymn of the Dragonflower and what it actually is, because there's something about it that not a lot of people realize. I also want to talk about future plans I have for it, especially in terms of virtual tabletop, and a character option that I'm working on to add to the adventure. Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Trosk and today I want to give a little update on Hymn of the Dragonflower. If you do not know what that is, it is a Kickstarter campaign that is live right now. As a matter of fact, it went over its funding goal last week and starting today, it will go into its final week, meaning that we can still reach some of those stretch goals, like for example, a free virtual tabletop, Foundry virtual tabletop version of the adventure for every backer. No extra payment, nothing, just in your mailbox, a virtual tabletop Foundry version of the adventure. Now, I want to quickly talk about what Hymn of the Dragonflower actually is, because not a lot of people realize what it actually is. Hymn of the Dragonflower is a prequel adventure to Isle of the Dreaded Accursed. Isle of the Dreaded Accursed is a tier 2 adventure I've written with JVC Perry. It's available for 5th edition, it's available for the Cypher system, it's also available on Fantasy Grounds Virtual Tabletop, and soon it will also be available on Foundry Virtual Tabletop, but more information about that a little bit later. Now, Isle of the Dreaded Accursed is, if you know, if you've played it, a lot of people loved it. I still get like compliments about it. People like it. It's written by JVC Perry and myself. I think it's great. I learned a lot in the process of creating this, and it takes place in a village called Mountain Foot. And as you might know, Mountain Foot Village sits at the foot of a mountain called Mitra Mountain. And Mitra Mountain is the main area where Hymn of the Dragonflower takes place. So it is a prequel adventure, but it is not per se one big story arc. It is just tied around the same location, and it just flows. One adventure could flow into the other one really nicely. As a matter of fact, Isle of the Dreaded Accursed has a side quest your players can uncover called the Dwarves of Mitra, and the Dwarves of Mitra are actually like the main quest giver group kind of people that your characters in Hymn of the Dragonflower interact with and take the quest and the adventure from. So it is very easy for the players to finish off Hymn of the Dragonflower, do the epic thing in Hymn of the Dragonflower, and then they are going to the nearest city, which is Mountain Foot Village, taking them from a tier 1 adventure, Hymn of the Dragonflower, all the way into a tier 2 adventure, Isle of the Dreaded Accursed, giving you countless of sessions and hours of gaming fun. And that takes me immediately to the length of Hymn of the Dragonflower, because a lot of people have been asking that question. How long is it? How big is it? How grand is it? It is about the same size as Isle of the Dreaded Accursed, although it's a little bit different. It is about the same size in a matter of like it's 4, 5, 6, depending on what your players do, maybe even 7 sessions long adventure. So it's a full length adventure, but it is not an entire campaign. I personally shy away from like big campaign books. I like tying smaller adventures together to create like this big thing and have my players go into different things and create my own big story campaign arc across that. So Hymn of the Dragonflower again is one of those adventures. And I just want to quickly talk about what you can expect from the adventure, because a lot of people have been asking like what exactly is happening in the adventure, and I've kept that vague intentionally because I want you to discover it for yourself. Basically, there is a gargantuan sized flower on top of a mountain, and legend says it only blooms once in like 1,000, maybe 2,000 years. Nobody really knows. And when it blooms, the Dwarves of Mitra want some of its essence, and they are calling upon adventurers to go up there and try to grab the essence from the Dragonflower. Now, the Dwarves of Mitra look for adventurers, and it is the adventurers who have no idea that this is going on and that the Dragonflower is in bloom, but they encounter somebody called Marlene from Marlene's Musical Mansion, who is a traveling bard who sells musical instruments, including one magical hurdy-gurdy that you can play, and as long as you play it, an Atten that lives in the mountain will do whatever you say it must do. until you stop playing. When you're interrupted, the admin just becomes a normal admin that will probably kill you or eat you or smash you or whatever. So it's kind of like a weird magic item that's in there. But Marlene tells them that what's going on. So the characters go to the Dwarves of Mitra, and this adventure is more like, it's more about the travel to the gargantuan Dragonflower. It's filled with like perilous, there's like people, they can fall from the mountain different ways. There is many like wildlife trying to kill them. There is environmental stuff trying to kill them. There's a lot of like role-playing opportunities. Like there's a friendly Etten in there. Sorry, a friendly Yeti in there who just wants to help out the characters because he's seen them like struggle in the mountains, so he helps them out with like some fresh onion soup. All of that stuff. There is the role-playing stuff in the mountain. The players at a certain point come up to like, we have like the Dwarves of Mitra who sit like medium high in the mountain, but then higher up the mountain, there's a Temple of Mitra where like the real monks live, and that's like another safe point for the characters. So this adventure doesn't like have a village in the same sense as I've Dreaded Curse has mountain food. It doesn't have like a village with an inn and with a shop and with all that stuff, but it has a few points where the players can rest up and heal up, or go back to if the need being to get rested up and healed up and eat their stomachs full of like good food and all of that stuff. And in the end, they reach the Dragonflower, and there's this giant plot twist that I won't talk about, but it's kind of cool. My players completely, utterly fell for it, and it was awesome. Now, what are my plans for the future of this adventure? Well, it is funded, so the adventure, at least in PDF form, it is absolutely 100% coming, and everybody who orders it through Kickstarter, who backs the project, is also getting a print code. So for a few dollars, like $4, $5, maybe $6 extra, depending on the prices of Drive-Thru RPG at that very moment in time, you can get yourself even like a PDF softcover physical copy of Hymn of the Dragonflower. Now, on top of that, when we reach, if we reach 9,000 funded, we're now at 7,150 or something like that. If we reach a 9,000 funded, I will have a Foundry virtual tabletop version created for everybody who backed. Everybody who backed will get their free version of the Foundry version. That said, if we do not reach that goal, I will in the future probably still create virtual tabletop modules of it, but it will take longer because I need to get the funding. So the adventure needs to sell, and in order to, when it sells, I get like more funding and I can spend more hours into creating that kind of stuff. Or have somebody do it and pay them to do it, whatever. So it's probably, I still want this thing to be on Foundry Virtual Tabletop. And I'm also working with somebody, this is still vague stuff, but I'm still also working with somebody who wants to create a Fantasy Grounds version of this adventure. This will, of course, come later, probably on the Fantasy Grounds web shop. You can buy the adventure there, play it there. It will be set up for you with maps and everything. Now, for the future, I've already, in a Kickstarter update, I've already shown off a map for the serpent, the ice serpent encounter, where the ice serpent comes out of the ice and it just towers above the players, and the players are on shards of ice on a freaking lake of ice, and they have to jump from shard to shard and at the same time try to fend off this serpent's really epic encounter. I've played it twice and it was really, really cool. So I'm creating maps for those types of encounters, and those maps will be in the book, but those maps will also be in the virtual tabletop versions of the adventure, including like all the tokens and all that stuff. So that is something that I really, really want for the future of this adventure. So it goes without saying that to make this adventure the best it can be, including virtual tabletop, Foundry virtual tabletop, Fantasy Grounds, the more advanced, the better it will be, including artwork. I still have Brian Syme, if that's the correct way to pronounce it, an artist who works mainly for Kobold Press, waiting on the line to create an art piece for this adventure. I still have more stuff to come, and one thing that I'm working on right now, I don't have art for it yet, but I will have art for it in a few days probably, is a player option. I really want a player option in there, and I'm thinking of adding a lineage. Yes, I'm doing heritages and lineage from now on because it's the Tales of Valiant way to go. I'm doing I want to do a lineage. No, it's a heritage. I want to do a heritage, sorry. I always mess those two up for some reason. I want to do a heritage for mountain folk Working title: people who live in and around mountains, who have mountainous skills, mountaineering, climbing. They are really good at not falling off a cliff. They are really good at finding food in like bare circumstances where there's almost no food, and creating a good dish from almost nothing. So yeah, mountain folk. And I have this vision in my head of like mountain folk not really being a lineage, more being a collection of different races of a people who came together, like, I don't know, humans and elves and dwarves, whoever wanted to live in those mountains, and they live in like this small communities or whatever. And of course, in a matter of time, you get like more half races in there and all that stuff, and kind of the races kind of fade away in a way, and you are left with this people who are a mountainous people. And if a player takes that as their player option, they are just a little bit better at crossing mountains than their fellow party members. And the reason why I like this being a heritage so much is because a group of players could all take a different race, a different lineage as their base option. One might be a dwarf, the other might be an elf, a human, a dragonborn, a gnome, a halfling, whatever. And they could all take a different lineage, but they could all take the mountain folk heritage, which makes them all a different combination of being good at crossing mountains, but also being good at other stuff. And that's why I really, really love the heritage and lineage system. And that's it. If there was ever a time to support me as a fan of my channel, or if you've always thought that I like pointed you towards the right direction of books and all that stuff, it is right now. Click the link in the description below, because for only 20 freaking euros, you'll be getting a PDF, you'll be getting a print code, and potentially a Foundry virtual tabletop version of the adventure. And I, right now, will tell you that even if we don't hit that goal, all backers will get a Foundry, a discount code to the eventual Foundry virtual tabletop version that will come in the future. So it is really well worth backing. You're getting a lot of cool stuff for your money, because it's written by myself and freaking Dot Steverson. I mean, she's a legend from Kobold Press and other stuff. So click the link in the description below. Please back it. It's in its final week. Now is the time to support me as a creator. It really goes a long way. Your 20 bucks really go a long way. And until next video, bye-bye.